Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we are going to take a look at the heroes from the newest banner, Nohrian Summer. In this banner we got some new variants of already existing heroes. There's Leo, female Corrin, Xander, which this is his second fan service appearance. The first one was Xander from the Spring Festival banner a while back. And of course the last hero is Elise. I'm going to give you guys my opinion on each of these heroes, and at the end I'll rank the heroes from best to worst. First hero is Leo. This guy has 37 HP, 32 attack, 27 speed, 16 defense, and 35 resistance. So he has very low HP, speed, and defense, which makes him extremely vulnerable to any physical attacks. But I mean, same goes for most of the other red mages out there, right? Obviously his role isn't to tank physical enemies, but to tank green and some red mages. I'm pretty sure there isn't another role for this guy. His attack for a red mage is on the lower side, and his speed is super low, so this guy isn't good for super offensive builds. If you wanted someone who could somewhat mage tank and nuke at the same time, then Lilina is who you're looking for. And if you're looking for someone who can do both effectively, then Sanaki and Katarina does it 2 times better. These are the kind of stats that kind of beg for Triangle Adept, and might as well add in Raven Tome while we're at it. If you plan to use them to tank green and red mages, then you'll want to give them Red Tome Breaker, because this guy actually does get killed by a skilled Silica, Katarina, and Tharja. And the last thing I want to mention about his stats, it's kind of similar to Julia but with 3 less attack, but the important thing to note is that this guy is red and Julia is green. Green mages are just a lot more valuable in this current meta. His weapon is Tomato Tome. It's got 12 might, and the effect grants allies within 2 spaces attack and speed +1 during combat. So it's like a spur attack half and spur speed half combined into one. It does stack with hone attack, hone speed, and other spur buffs because it is a combat buff. Therefore this tome is a lot more viable. If it was just a +1 attack and +1 speed display buff, then it'd be terrible. I still think this tome is weak, especially on Leo. He already has problems dealing damage since he's so slow, and if he plans to use this tome, he's pretty much just a cheerleader. +1 speed can make a difference, but not a big enough difference to make me want to use this weapon. Iceberg is his special, at least he has that. It'll grant him 17 bonus damage on activation. Good stuff. B skill is Steel Res 3. His offensive stats aren't that great, so this is a way to help out his offensive presence. It'd be best to pair him up with a dancer so he's able to 2-turn KO enemies. Otherwise, the other way to proc Steel Res and benefit off of the debuff is by baiting mages on the enemy phase and attacking them on the following player phase. C skill is Attack Ploy. The only other hero that has this skill is Katarina, I believe. These ploy skills are just really good. They are just so easy to proc. If you are new to the game, basically what this skill does is it lowers 5 attack to all enemies in the tiles in front, left, right, and behind of Leo. Kind of like an infinite plus sign, but only if the enemy has 1 less resistance than Leo. So anyone with 34 resistance or lower will be affected. So if you look at the whole kit all together, it makes a lot more sense. Have Leo sit in the back to lower enemies' attack with Attack Ploy and buffing your allies with Tomato Tome. And if you need him to bait green or red mages, then he doesn't have to move that far away from his team to bait them. Is he worth pulling for? Probably not. Stats are impressive. The only thing that really stands out is his resistance. He's not a bad magical tank, but there's plenty of those type of heroes to choose from. And like what I said earlier, his color type isn't that useful right now in the current meta. Being a red mage means he's only covering green and some red mages. And in arena right now, there's just tons of green mages and a lot more blue mages. Attack Ploy is pretty nice for skill inheritance, but I don't think it's a must-have type of skill. Next is female Corrin. She's our first blue tome flyer, so that's something to keep in mind. Her stats are 34 HP, 31 attack, 34 speed, 22 defense, and 26 resistance. She has a nice level of balance between the stats. 31 attack is on the low side, but she does have 34 speed, and that's enough to double most enemies, especially with a boon. Her HP is very low, and she doesn't have that high of a resistance stat, so she won't be able to tank much magically aside from red mages. She can tank someone like Male Robin, sure, but the top tier guys like Lindy and Reinhardt, she has no chance. Defense is also low, so don't think about using her to tank physical enemies, especially archers. So what can you do with these stats? The obvious build is the standard Blade Tome set. Put her on a flyer team so she gets all the nice +6/+6 buffs. She'll be just a little better than Blade Tome Owen because they have the same speed, but Corrin has 5 more attack. Her weapon is Sea Life Tome, exactly the same tome as Leo's Tomato Tome, but blue. Pretty much went over everything about it with Leo, but since Corrin is a flyer, she can put it into better use than Leo. If you give her goat flyers, she can grant flying allies within 2 spaces +5 attack and +5 speed during combat, since combat buffs do stack. Special is Dragon Fang. If you have Quicken Pulse, definitely give her that so that the cooldown is reduced to 3. Draconic Aura deals 12, Iceberg deals 13, and Dragon Fang deals 21. For a Blade Tome build, go with Moonbow. If you keep Sea Life Tome, then either use Dragon Fang or Luna. A skill is Swift Strike 2. If unit initiates combat, unit is granted +4 speed and resistance during combat. So it's a combination of Darting Blow 2 and Warding Blow 2. Obviously worse than Swift Sparrow, and I think it's also worse than Darting Blow. I take the extra 2 speed over 4 resistance any day. This skill is really only useful for attacking into blue mages, but if she is using Sea Life Tome as her weapon, I don't think she has enough damage to take out high resistant blue mages anyways. And if you give her a Blade Tome, then you definitely don't want to use this skill. Corrin only has 26 resistance, so it does help soak some damage against red mages. I keep forgetting to mention Lightning Breath Dragons. It'll help against those guys as well, even though I hardly see anyone use them. C skill is Fortify Flyers. I think it'd be a lot better if she had Gold Flyers. First, Gold Flyer stacks with Sea Life Tome, and second, if Corrin goes the Blade Tome route, it's better for someone else to give Corrin these Fortify buffs so it powers up the Blade Tome's damage. Regardless, still a great skill. So is Corrin worth pulling for? Yes. She's the only blue tome flyer in the game right now, and she has pretty good stats. She's also limited edition, so that's even more of a reason to pull for her. If you don't care about Fire Emblem, then she's still good to have for a normal team. Even if you have a lot of blue mages, you can still pull for her. There's that new arena mode coming out soon that requires a lot of teams, so having a couple extra above average blue mages isn't a bad idea. She is a blue mage that is very vulnerable to archers, but the upside is her ability to traverse through unpassable terrain. And the last thing I want to mention is that her art is actually really nice. I think it's actually the best art in the banner. Alright, onto the greens. Another new member of Hawkeye's No Nipple Club is Xander. 43 HP, 32 attack, 30 speed, 36 defense, and 16 resistance. One comparison is Summer Tiki. It's like they traded a few points of HP for resistance and attack with defense. I think Summer Tiki is a lot better since she has the attack stat to go with a Brave Axe build, and she also comes with close defense so she can go with a enemy phase quick riposte path. Another comparison is Bars. Bars has better stats in everything besides defense. Anyways, this guy's defense is still nuts. He's the tankiest physical infantry green in the game and one of the tankiest greens in general. Only one less defense than Hector and Baruka, and he has a lot more speed. 32 attack and 30 speed aren't exactly great offensive stats. Speed isn't fast enough to double that many enemies, but it is fast enough to prevent doubles. Resistance sucks, so watch out for mages and dragons. Builds really depends on IVs. I think for neutral speed Xanders, Triangle Depth is a good option. Plus speed could probably go Darting Blow, Attack +3, or Fury. B slot options include the Breaker skills, Quick Riposte, and Drag Back. His weapon is pretty much the same as everyone else's, except it has 14 might. Might is good enough to use. There's not that many options for weapons for him. I think the most optimal ones for him are Emerald Axe and Melon Crusher. A special is Bonfire. I'm glad the devs started giving these banner heroes their optimal specials and not some BS like Glimmer and those AoE blazing glowing light ones. Xander's HP is only 43, so if you plan on using Fire Boost, you should definitely give him a +3 HP seal. If you don't have an HP seal, then I think Attack +3 or Death Blow 3 would be a lot better. Okay, the C skill is sorta a new mechanic, but not really. Infantry Pulse. Special cooldown count -1 at start of turn 1 for any infantry allies with at least 1 fewer HP than unit. Effects will stack with similar skills. Alright, so this skill works kinda like Quicken Pulse, but with a requirement and restriction. So when Xander has this equipped, all the other infantry allies on your team that has at least 1 less HP than Xander will have their special cooldown lowered by 1 at the start of the turn. Basically, they all get a free Quicken Pulse effect if the HP requirement is met. This skill does stack with other infantry pulses and the Quicken Pulse seal. So let's say you have 3 Xanders with this skill, and let's say, I don't know, Lynn with Quicken Pulse and Gale Force. She'll start off the match with a 1 charge Gale Force. That wouldn't be using infantry pulse effectively since you don't need Gale Force to be at 1 charge in order to activate it on turn 1, but I'm just using that as an example. All those effects do stack. Remember that the effects only work on turn 1, so their special won't receive the cooldown reduction after they are used. Instead, they'll return to the normal cycle. This skill only works for infantry units and can only be inherited by infantry units, so you cannot give it to Zephiel or Hector. It's definitely a strong skill. It's great to have on units like Crom, Carol, Zelith, or even Elm with a HP seal equipped. So should you pull for Xander? No and maybe. I wouldn't pull for his stats because I think Bars is actually arguably better than him. His stats are usable, usable, but there's plenty of other heroes that can fill his shoes. The floaty is nice for memes, and the only reason I would pull for this guy is for infantry pulse. You can do some funky stuff with it. It's a pretty cool gimmick. Last hero is Elise. She has 34 HP, 36 attack, 34 speed, 18 defense, and 25 resistance. So as you guys can see, the only thing that she has going for her are her offensive stats. I checked the calculator and she does die to Reinhardt, so player phase builds are pretty much the only way to go. And the best offensive mage build to go is the ever so popular Blade Tome build. You might wonder, how does she compare with Nino? I checked the calculations and I found out that Nino is still better with the Blade Tome, assuming that the calculator didn't bug out with the custom feature. And I'm talking about Blade Tome with Fury or Life and Death. I checked both of the calculations. Even if Elise had a slight edge over Nino, I still would have told you guys to stick with Nino because Elise is limited edition, so you wouldn't have been able to merge as much as you would with Nino. I think that's pretty important to note, but yeah, Elise is very strong with the right build. She should be ranked pretty high on the tier list. Her weapon is Hibiscus Tome. She has really good offensive stats, so this weapon doesn't phase her too much. I would still highly recommend going for a Blade Tome build because her stat spread is perfect to complement it. Assist is rally attack resistance, grants +3 attack and resistance to an ally. These dual rally assist skills are really great if you have a Blade Tome ally. It's an easy +9 attack and +3 resistance buff. It doesn't stack with Hone and Fortify buffs, so keep that in mind. Speed Res 2 grants 2 speed and 2 resistance. This skill is okay for heroes that have a really high base speed like Brigida. For someone like Elise, she's gotta get more speed, and you're probably not going to use her as an enemy phase unit, so Darting Blow, Swift Sparrow, or Life and Death are better options. Her C skill is G Tome Veiler 3, and if you guys have been following my channel, then you guys should know how I feel about these Veiler skills. Should you pull for Elise? Yup, amazing offensive stat spread, and she even comes with G Tome Veiler 3. What more can you ask for? Even if you have Nino, go ahead and try to pull for Elise. Try to get that Green Tome Veiler. She's going to be really expensive to build for Arena since you pretty much have to replace everything, but it'll be worth it at the end. Alright, so here's the ranking from best to worst. Elise number 1 because she has great offensive stats and has G Tome Veiler. 2 is female Corrin. Now she can be the number 1 if you don't care for G Tome Veiler. Corrin is special because she's the only blue tone flyer and she has pretty good stats. 3rd is Xander. Stats are just okay, but he does come with infantry pulse, which I think is a great skill for any kind of infantry team out there. And last is Leo because I think he just gets outclassed. I personally will not be pulling from this banner. I'm going to save all my orbs for the Choose Your Legend banner because that's coming out soon. I think it'll be out maybe in 2 months because I'm pretty sure the next banner is going to be the Nohrian Summer banner. The art model from this banner are from the Fate's Beach Brawl DLC, which included Camilla. I don't know why they didn't put her in this banner because I'm positive that they would have made a lot of money off of her. The Nohrian Summer banner will probably include Ryoma, Takumi, Hinoka, and Sakura. So if you guys liked any of those characters, I would hold on to your orbs for the next summer banner. Thank you guys for watching my Nohrian Summer banner review. Hope you guys pull something good. Let me know who you guys summoned and I'll see you guys in the next video.